The royals don't talk to them. The king does not talk to his own son. None of the senior royals talk to these two. They are total pariahs in the family.
Breaking right now, Piers Morgan, a close personal friend of Queen Camilla, has just revealed that no members of the royal family, including King Charles, will speak to Prince Harry or Meghan Markle at all. All contact has been cut. According to Piers, a royal insider who you'll also remember hangs out quite a bit with Beatrice and Eugenie, the princess daughters of Andrew. I want to take you through exactly what Piers told the US broadcaster, good friend of mine, Meghan Kelly, because he's also branded Meghan Markle a nasty little bully. You won't get any disagreement from me there. We're going to get analysis from the editor of the Royal News Network, Brittany, in just a moment. But Brittany, first, we've got to watch along together because this is a bombshell after bombshell interview from Piers to Meghan.
On their website, it says that they're all about compassion. They're compassionate people. They're also all about mental health and helping people with mental health. They've been very vocal about that recently, about the perils of online trolling and the effect it has on people's mental health. And yet here we are with Vanity Fair, the Hollywood Bible, the thing that Meghan was most thrilled about getting the cover of a few years ago when she got engaged to Harry, which went down very badly with the palace at the time, I can tell you. But now it reveals that actually she in particular is a nasty little bully who sends staff into therapy. Think about that for a moment. This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK,
Many broken by me,
which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here. So it's no surprise to people who work at Buckingham Palace. They saw and witnessed all this here. So I just showed, look, they're a pair of hypocrites, they're a pair of chancers, as the Spotify guy called them, a pair of effing grifters. And they're desperately trying to maintain some kind of future as a renegade royal couple when they're no longer part of the royal family. The royals don't talk to them. The king does not talk to his own son. None of the senior royals talk to these two. They are total pariahs in the family because the only currency they have is trashing the royal family and the monarchy. And every time they try and do something else, nobody cares. No one cared about their podcast series. Nobody cared about the polo series recently. Nobody cared about any of it. All they want to hear is the dirt. And these two, for 5 years, have reveled and wallowed in royal dirt for vast amounts of money. And that's what makes Prince Harry's ongoing campaign against the UK newspapers, which had another flare-up this week, so laughably hypocritical.
Hey everyone, welcome back to iStudio. If you thought the tension between the royal family and the Sussexes was cooling down, think again. Piers Morgan has just revealed that King Charles is not speaking to Prince Harry or Meghan Markle at all. Complete silence, no calls, no texts, no contact. It's a royal freeze-out that's got everyone talking. And today I'm breaking down what's really going on behind the palace gates. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a royal update.
Brittany, well, lots to pick up on there. I totally agree with Piers's analysis on the Meghan Kelly show. But the most critical thing, the most newsworthy thing for us to discuss is the fact that no senior member of the royal family will even speak to Harry or Meghan now. Now, of course, we knew that William had cut contact and we knew that Charles would try and avoid phone conversations with Harry as much as possible. Angela Levin and Lady Colin Campbell had revealed that right here on Outspoken. However, remember, Piers is a royal insider, close friends with Queen Camilla, close friends with the princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, regularly socializes with both. And he says both Harry and Meghan now pariahs within the royal family, completely ignored. Maybe not a surprise, but very fascinating to hear.
It really is, Dan, because they used to all be so close in many ways, especially Harry with Beatrice and Eugenie. They were really had seems like a good friendship at one point, but no one is surprised by this because as time has gone on, as Megxit has gotten further away, they've had these mega deals, but the only thing that actually sells is their connection to the royals. So if you cut that off, Harry and Meghan really have to prove themselves on their own merits. And as it turns out, They can't do it. They don't have either the talent, the creativity, or whatever to come to bear in this situation and actually create decent content. And so, if the royal family stars them of the only thing that's going to make them money, then I don't know what they're going to do, because trying to be royals here in the United States is not going over very well. So we don't want them to be royals here. They can live here, but they can't be royalty here. And Harry and Meghan don't seem to quite get that yet, although it might be sinking in with the new administration. But this has been just an absolutely epic disaster for Harry and Meghan. And you got to think, especially Harry, he's lost his relationship with his entire family basically at this point. So, but it's all of his own doing. So he has nobody to blame in this situation but himself, and I would argue probably his wife as well.
Of course, but how disgusting that at a time when he should be there for his dad, right? His dad is suffering from very serious cancer, Brittany. Again, all he does is create strife, to the fact that actually Camilla says to Charles, no, just have nothing to do with him because it's not going to be good for your health.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the healthiest approach for him at this point. Harry
Yeah.
has had multiple opportunities, I think, to try and make inroads to recognize the failure of his ways. But what I came across, I think it was in the Vanity Fair piece, although it might have been maybe a Daily Beast piece that kind of followed that, was talking about how Harry still doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand the damage that Spare did to his relationship with his family, that Netflix did, that Mexic did, that Oprah did to his family. He still doesn't quite get it. And because of that, he can't even recognize his own faults in the situation. And of course, that has been Harry and Meghan's entire brand, is to blame everybody else when trouble follows them and not recognizing that usually about 9/10 of the time, they are the cause of their own problems and issues. It all comes back to them.
So here's where it gets explosive. Piers Morgan didn't hold back. He outright called Meghan Markle a nasty little bully. According to Morgan, Meghan's staff were allegedly mistreated, and multiple insiders back up this claim. This adds a whole new layer to the public image Meghan tries to project. What's worse, this isn't just gossip. These bullying accusations have reportedly been a major reason for the royal family's complete disengagement. It's not just tension, it's total rejection.
And I think it's horrific given Charles's cancer, obviously Catherine going through her whole cancer treatments as well, that they really could have used Harry. They really could have used Harry in that moment. And he, of course, chose selfishness and greed, I would argue, over duty and family.
Shame on him. Absolutely shame on him, because that is the
Agreed.
moment that you need to be there for your family. Now, look, the truth bombs being spat by Piers Morgan and Meghan Kelly were not over there, though, because, of course, they had to deal with the whole issue of the Netflix TV series With Love, Meghan, and how on earth, given everything that's gone on in California and the Sussexes' revolting disaster tourism, how on earth it can ever be released. Let's watch.
And now what's happened, I mean, what's most laughable of all, in a sort of horrible way, is that she's got this new series where she's trying to be the new Martha Stewart, where she's going to be cooking in her fancy mansion for all her fancy friends, very fancy food. Can you imagine a less appropriate thing in California right now than this fake princess, this duchess trading off the title she got given by an institution she's tried to ruin, actually prancing about in this kitchen in a multi-million-dollar mansion with her famous friends in California, when 12 to 14,000 people have just lost their homes in the most horrendous fires that the city's ever had in Los Angeles and that the state's ever seen. It is so unbelievably inappropriate that that series could go ahead, but I bet it does.
Yeah, they're saying it's actually going to pick up in March now, as opposed to the January launch date.
I mean, what do you think, Brittany? Can they go ahead with Love, Meghan? Because even since the announcement was made, my goodness, it has completely changed the whole environment.
Oh yeah, and I mean the whole downhill spiral just in this month, Dan, has been insane to witness. I don't think I've ever seen two people crash and burn so hard as Harry and Meghan in just the span of less than 31 days. But I think this whole series, is going to fail, not just because of obviously the premise and it being post the fires, because you can't really predict a natural disaster like that. But I think the true problem Meghan has always had is that she's not authentic. And really, in this modern environment, authenticity is what sells. And I think her prancing around in this multi-million-dollar kitchen and this multi-million-dollar house and everything, and claiming to show people that it doesn't have to be about perfection or whatever, I just don't think anybody's going to buy it, because she always seems, at least to me, I've always read her as very contrived, very much wanting to portray what she thinks is perfect in that particular moment. Usually her instincts are wrong in that scenario.
Morgan also slammed Harry and Meghan as grifters, people clinging to royal fame while simultaneously trashing the monarchy. Let's be honest, most of their public relevance since stepping down as senior royals has come from speaking against the very institution they once served, from bombshell interviews to tell-all documentaries. It seems like their entire brand is built on royal controversy, and according to Morgan, that's the only way they stay in the headlines.
But I think that's going to be a huge challenge for this series, not only dealing with the fires and so many people out of their homes, but I think the indulgence of wealth that I feel like will come through this, the pretentiousness and all these things. I think everybody's just going to take 2 looks at this show and go, no. But what are they going to do? They desperately need content in order to still get some of that pot they have from Netflix for whatever they're going to produce. But they get it wrong every single time. And so it's just going to be another epic train wreck for the two of them. And yeah, I mean, again, they only have themselves to blame here. There's a million different directions they could have taken this, but I think she chose probably the worst route possible.
But not according to Meghan, Brittany, because according to Meghan,
Never
we're meant to
Meghan.
feel sorry for her. Great reporting from
course.
Radar Online revealing that she's gone into hermit mode as a result of the way that she's been slammed. And a source close to Meghan says, in pursuing that goal, she's found herself at the receiving end of harsh treatment. Harry has reassured her of his pride in her actions and advised her to take a step back and not let it get to her. Still, it weighs on them. Rather than retreating from the situation, they opted to journey 2 hours into the heart of the fire zone to volunteer at the World Central Kitchen. Brittany, do they not understand? That was the problem. No one wanted you there. And in fact, it was an emergency situation. So the fact that you traveled for 2 hours into a fire zone, like, that's the issue. That's not the defense. That's the problem. But then this source also went on to say, and Brittany, this is what got me just mad, I guess. This response, talking about Meghan, is exactly what you would anticipate from someone who carries Princess Diana's legacy. Oh, no, she doesn't. William and Catherine carry Diana's legacy, not Harry and Meghan.
Well, I think too, the over-reliance on, contributing or pursuing or whatever Diana's legacy, I think that's a great mistake on their part, because I think Catherine and William are carrying on her legacy by really forging their own path. They're not trying to mimic her. I feel like if you're trying to mimic someone,
So true.
that always never goes well, because it's inauthentic. That it goes back to that thing where she can't be authentic. And at least for me, like I actually grew up in Southern California, so I'm familiar with what happens with wildfires and everything. And just the idea that in the middle, when these fires are still going on, that the mayor of a city took city officials away from their duties to parade them through somebody's home that got burned down, as I think it was maybe Justine Bateman that pointed out, is like, there might actually be human remains there.
Exactly.
Are you sure you've
We're not over
evaluated
that.
this?
We're not over
It's
that.
crazy. And so it was just so tone deaf, so ridiculous. And I mean, I blame the city officials too for indulging them to that extent. They are not royalty here. They're just simply royals who live here. That there's a huge difference there. And you see it compared to Donald Trump going and surveying these scenes, because he can actually go, well, I can minimize or eliminate this federal barrier to you rebuilding quickly. I can do this immediately because I'm president. What can the two of them do? Seriously, what can the two
Just
of them
annoy people.
do?
Just
Nothing.
annoy
They
people,
just annoy people.
and distract the authorities and the first responders.
Exactly, from
Now, look,
doing real jobs.
You speak about tone, Brittany. I was very fascinated. I think it was Princess Carparkle on X that I first saw had posted this, but someone has done and I'm sorry I can't give credit to whoever put this together, but someone has done a really deep dive into Meghan Markle's changing voice.
Let's talk about their attempts to go independent. Spotify cancelled them. Netflix isn't impressed. Meghan's new series already facing backlash, and it hasn't even taken off yet. Piers pointed out something interesting too. He questioned Meghan's changing voice, calling out what he sees as a manufactured personality. From the British accent slip-ups to a different tone when speaking publicly, her authenticity is under the microscope.
And it really is fascinating and worth taking a little watch of, and then let's analyse on the back. But first, I know the reason you're watching this show is because you know that these days it's almost impossible to trust the mainstream media or the so-called fact-checkers who claim to patrol social media. And there's a very good reason for that, right? Think about it. Brexit, COVID, Donald Trump, they got it all wrong. So I've got the solution. Today's sponsor, Ground News, is the only safe way to consume the headlines. And you can go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out for yourself. But what I want to actually do is show you this website and app in action. So let's look at the recent story about Elon Musk falling out with Nigel Farage. It was over Tommy Robinson, of course. And the legacy media wanted to whip up this story to destroy all three men. But you can see here on Ground News that they have collated the 230 sources in one place. Then it instantly shows how the story is being covered by the media, but broken down by whether the media organizations lean to the left or the right. This is the illustration bias distribution service. And if you scroll down, you can see every article about the topic broken down by political position or ownership. So in this case, Fox News gave a fair analysis, whereas the Independent and Mediaite did not. They actually lambasted Musk and Robinson and Farage as morons with big egos, but they didn't actually look into why the split happened, how it could be resolved. What's more, Ground News actually gets to know you personally. This is really important. It will provide you with news stories that you are interested in, but it also analyzes your own biases and comes up with potential blind spots for stories that you might not be hearing about. So if you're like me, you love the news, but you no longer trust the legacy media, Ground News gives you the tools to understand the truth about what is going on in the world. I can vouch for this service. It's the only way I now read the news. It allows me to see through media bias and manipulative narratives without having to rely on the MSM to define the truth for me. So you can go to ground.news/outspoken. Check it out for yourself. And if you subscribe through my link, you get 40% off. That's 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use for unlimited access. Now, I should say, Ground News, completely subscriber funded. If you support my sponsor, you support my work too. And for less than a Netflix subscription, you get all of the world's news in one place. And you can think for yourself. It really is a game changer for a news junkie like me. So I'll just repeat the address, ground.news/outspoken, or you can click on the link in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. There's also the QR code up on screen right now as well. But now, back to the show.
Meanwhile, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, continues to rise in public favour. She's committed, graceful and focused on royal duty. The contrast is sharp. While all this noise surrounds the Sussexes, King Charles recently made a solemn visit to Auschwitz, honouring Holocaust victims and reminding the world of the royal family's enduring role in history. That's the difference, isn't it? While Harry and Meghan make headlines for controversy, the rest of the royal family continues their legacy of service. Actions speak louder than interviews.
Incredible woman. She's here with her family as well. I spent some time today with her mom and her sister. I mean, just really salt of the earth, lovely people. So to be involved with them and this organization and the Caldwells as well, it's really
part of what I find a lot of strength or faith in. Just looking at my kids, I know it sounds so cheesy, but my gosh, it's the most perspective building thing. And also I think recognizing that everything is temporary, to really just enjoy what time we have here, what we're doing with that time, and at least open the door for really meaningful conversation.
You're also a foodie.
yes.
Give me your top 2, 3 restaurants that you're going to have to hit while you're here in New York City.
Well, I gotta be honest. It is. I'm going to Del Posto tonight.
I saw that on your Twitter.
Right. I'm going to Per Se tomorrow, so it's turning into an epic foodie trip this go round. But normally, I just love a good slice of pizza at Ruby Rosa or a good falafel at Taim. Oh gosh, I mean, this industry is just so special, and you see how many women use the platform that they have and just channel it for good. And I think as the more we support each other, it just amplifies the work, amplifies our community. I'm just thrilled to be back in it and to be able to sit in this room, be in such good company tonight.
Really wanted to show you the Shangri-La Hotel. I love this spot, especially when you need a good massage. The spa upstairs, so good. We're at Soho House Toronto, which is basically TIG headquarters for me. I write my stories here, I take my meetings here, and it's kind of amazing because all over the world, if I'm traveling, Soho House can still be home base.
It's about being authentic. And if you look back at anything that I've said, it's really interesting because it often what ends up being inflammatory, it seems, is people's interpretation of it. But if you listen to what I actually say, it's not controversial.
So, I mean, Brittany, she is an actress, I guess, but quite an obvious change in tone.
It is. And it's something that, I mean, I've even heard that people tell me my voice is too high pitched and I need to change it. And I'm like, I'm not really interested in that. But you see somebody, she's
We
creating
love
a
your voice,
caricature.
Brittany.
Oh, thank you.
Don't change a thing, okay, girl?
That's what I don't want to do, because I was like, then it becomes this like, what am I trying to emulate? I'm not really being me. And part of it, I think that we've seen in this movement against mainstream media a lot of times is like, we want real voices. We want real people, and that feeling of authenticity. It's so funny that she mentions it at the end of the clip. And I was like, well, you've changed your voice, you've changed things to portray a caricature or a character, not really you being you. And I think that's one of the challenges Meghan has had over the years, is that we have no clue who the real Meghan is. Who is the real Meghan Markle? I don't really know, because she seems to say all these things and she's like, well, everybody thinks they're inflammatory because they're misinterpreting them. And I was like, well, if everybody's misinterpreting something, it's, probably you, not us. It's you and what you're saying. And so Meghan just really needs to, I think, if she wants to have a successful career in media, she needs to actually show us who the real Meghan is. Stop with this fake philanthropy. Stop with trying to do all these deep things and make us think you are trying to change the world. Just say she just wants some money. She just wants jewelry, designer clothes, and wants the life of the Kardashians. And she might actually do a heck of a lot better in Hollywood than trying to create this fake persona that's nobody's really buying.
So, indeed, I totally agree with that. And it's in great contrast, of course, to Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who does none of this for fame and is out today at a very important event doing the type of work that royals should do. We can take a look at this, actually. It's an event which is going to be televised on BBC One in the UK this evening. But there you see her with some of the survivors of the Holocaust. Of course, 80 years, Brittany, since Auschwitz was liberated. And the woman that she's hugging on the far left of the picture there, they have such a sweet relationship. And they described it as like meeting up like old friends. And the problem is that Meghan never actually understood that this is what royal life is really about. And I think it is worth just taking a moment to really appreciate that Catherine is very much back. She makes a big difference at these types of events because, the royal family was maybe lacking in a little bit of manpower, a little bit of glamour. And it's just so brilliant to see her there, isn't it? On what has been, let's just be honest about it, an absolutely harrowing day. Look at King Charles here. He actually went to the service at Auschwitz and incredibly emotional. And this is the role of the royal family, isn't it? To be there at historic moments like this.
Exactly. And you can actually see right next to him is Queen Matilda of the Belgians, and you have King Frederick over on his other side as well, because so many of the royal heads of state actually went to this event because it's so important to commemorate something like this. And this is what royals do and are so great at, because it's beyond the politics. It's about connecting with people and giving people a voice. Because what's so cool, we don't really even have this in the States because our president is both head of government and head of state. But what royals do is that they can go in and they can listen to people who would not get a microphone, would not get a platform, and hear their stories and connect with them and share those with the broader public. I think it's so cool and so unique and very, very important thing that royals do. And to commemorate this day, which is so incredibly important for all of us to remember. I've been to Auschwitz-Birkenau over there near Krakow in Poland, and it's a very moving place. It's a very terrible and horrible place, but we can never forget. And so I think it was so important for Charles to be the first UK monarch to actually go and visit this site of unbelievable terror and horror. And so I'm so excited that he went, and I'm so grateful to see so many royals representing their country and their people. Often some of them in particular were greatly impacted by the Holocaust. And then you have actually Denmark. I'll share something real quick. Denmark is actually a really cool case because they were able to evacuate the vast majority of other Jews to Sweden and saved pretty much all of them. So you have great, I think royals in that space were critical in trying to be part of that effort. So it's a great thing to see them there, and so exciting to see Charles meeting with survivors, because remembering their stories is so critical, because in the next 5 years, we don't know how many will be left. Many of them were young children at the time. So we're losing generations. And I think that's such a terrible thing. So hopefully we can continue these celebrations, or not celebrations, commemorations, and just never forget what happened during that time.
Absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Very well put, Brittany.
So, is this the end of any reconciliation between King Charles and the Sussexes? If Piers Morgan's sources are accurate, it certainly looks like it. No communication, no bridge, just a growing divide that may never be repaired. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should King Charles reach out, or is the royal silence justified? And don't forget, if you want more updates like this, smash that subscribe button and give this video a like. I've got more royal drama coming your way. Thanks for watching A Studio, where the crown always speaks loudest.